question for y'all. Why is it that it's not mandatory to learn the law in school, if this is something that dictates our presence in America? Today, y'all, we finna be hold on. I gotta close the blinds because they ain't gonna like this. Today, we're gonna talk about the dark history of law. This particular situation I'm gonna go over about Emmett Till is going to explain why black people don't respect the law. To not get banned or CBG, this video is strictly for educational purposes. This is the story of a little boy who had a stuttering problem who visited his great uncle's house. He ends up getting abducted from his home. Killed, mutilated, his eyes were gouged out, shot, and he was 14 years old. All because this woman said that he whistled at her. Now, these demons who killed him, they did not go to jail and they were convicted not guilty. We got 50 plus years going by. She ends up saying, oh, he didn't whistle at me. I lied. Now, when we try to bring this case back, the grand jury declines to indict her, right? But this little boy died. She is still alive, but she's not in jail now. Let me ask y'all, why do y'all think Karens exist? And yes, they were existing back then, putting false accusations on black people. They know that these laws are made against us. That's why they use it to apprehend us. They made laws to catch runaway slaves. They made laws to say that we cannot vote. We have to take literacy tests. We can't live in specific places. They have upgraded and created these amendments to seem ethical. But the same situations keep happening. These laws and the original Constitution and everything that plays a part with that was never meant for us. Therefore, it can never work for people of color. Black Panther activist Angela Davis was wrongfully convicted of murder and the FBI was looking for her. Like I said, creating laws so they can take you. She ends up beating the case. Before the FBI to even accuse these things of her and legally try to kidnap her, that shows that they can do whatever they want. It's the same thing with Assata Shakur. Now let's just listen to her words.
The FBI, with the help of local police agencies, systematically fed false accusations and fake news articles to the press, accusing me and other activists of crimes we did not commit.
This happened 20 plus 30 years ago and they still want her head.
National and local police agencies created a situation where, based on their false accusations against me, any police officer could shoot me on sight.
Now the things that are done to our people in the name of the law, being shot 60 times unarmed, and this is all the law has to say.
Or why officers initially deployed non-lethal tasers.
I don't know. I'm not going to respond to that because it would be speculation.
A police chief saying he doesn't know why. That's all the answers we get, according to the law.
A program that was set up by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to eliminate all political opposition to the U.S. government's policies, to destroy the Black liberation movement in the United States.
And that is the dark history of law. Y'all stay dangerous always.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYC, Be Your Conversation. I hope that the last week was as best as it could have been for y'all. And if not, we can't worry about what happened yesterday. We can't change it. It's past. We only can focus on the now and moving forward. And with that being said, a lot of us hold on to things that hurt us internally, and we need to let them go because it's affecting us mentally. And if you're ever in a position where you feel overwhelmed from life, if you feel extremely depressed, and you're contemplating suicide, that not be an option for you. I know sometimes life can get hectic, and dealing with mental health issues, it can take a toll on us, and at times we feel like there's no way out, but there's options for you, and I want you here, and you need to be here, and you have value, and you have worth, and you have every opportunity to experience the fullness of life. And there are people that you can reach out to. There's the 1-800 hotline. It's 1-800-273-8255. SuicidePreventionLifeline.org. They actually changed their name or their website to 988lifeline.org. You can always text HOME, all capital letters, capital H, capital O, capital M, capital E, to 74141, or you can actually call them directly, 988, right? Though all those resources are available to you, you can call them any time of day. A lot of times people resort in suicide because they feel like they don't have another way out. And it's hard to relate to something that's going on in someone else's head, but I want people to know that they are not alone and that help is available. Please just reach out if you ever get to that point. If you need to have a conversation, you can always inbox me or message me, and I can try to help you as much as I can. I want people to know that they have purpose and their life is worth living. And even though it doesn't seem, because I know life can get overwhelming sometimes. I was just in a deep depression for like a couple months, and every day I just had to fight. I knew that there was something to fight for, and so I want to urge people, don't give up on yourself, because I know sometimes life can make you feel like there's nothing in it, but you definitely have value and definitely worth it, and keep fighting for yourself. I'm going to give you some numbers before I get into today's topic, and hopefully it connects with you, and hopefully we make some changes for our life that can benefit us, that we can find the happiness in each and every day. 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. suffer from mental health illness each year. That's roughly 52.9 million, right? About 21% of the U.S. adult population. 5.6 U.S. adults, which is roughly 14.2 million, suffer from severe mental health illness. And this is severe, like those cases of schizophrenic or bipolar people. That's what's categorized as severe. And so mental health illness is a real illness, and a lot of times we get judged for having it. People think that we're making things up, or it doesn't really exist, or here go my favorite, oh, you don't have it as bad. You can't tell someone else how they're feeling is not valid, right? You can't take away from someone else their own pain. And so that's why a lot of people suffer in silence. A lot of people never go get the help that they need. A lot of people wind up doing crimes as relation to their mental health because of these labels, because they feel ostracized, they feel isolated, because people keep putting labels on people that suffer from mental health, thinking it's not a real illness. It is. People don't choose to deal with this, right? They don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to just be bipolar today. No, it's something that's going on, and we need to find a way to fix it. Mental health illness is not just mental or chemical, it's biological, right? It's passed down from generation to generation. It's our environment. It's the foods that we eat. To me, it's a spiritual aspect of it. So putting a label on someone because of something they choose not, they're not choosing to have, it's like putting a label on someone because they have cancer, or they dealing with something that's beyond their control. So it's up to us to bring more awareness to it. It's up to us to accept this as a real illness, and it's up to our own self to fight for ourselves, to fight for our right to say, hey, I'm not okay all the time, and this is okay. There are no perfect people in the world, and so we must be able to not make judgment with other people, right? A lot of times people judge people before they even know the whole situation. So let's not place judgment upon ourselves. At the end of the day, if you feel like you need to judge someone, judge your own self, right? A lot of times people point fingers at other people when they should be pointing it back at ourselves. And a lot of people don't want to do that because some people feel like they are too perfect to change or to look at themselves, but we all could use a little work, right? So let's get into today's topic. And today's topic is, how is our environment affecting us? And environment plays a key role in how we navigate through our life, right? An environment can compromise or a lot of different things, such as our work environment, our home environment, our relationships outside, the air that we breathe. Everything plays a key role in how we get affected. And what I'm going to talk about first is people. How do our people play a key role in affecting our mental health? And a lot of times we can choose people, but when we're young, we can't, right? We can't choose our home environment. And a lot of times, a lot of our mental health illness can stem from our childhood trauma that we have not dealt with. And so because we can't choose that, sometimes people that are adults that are affected by mental health issues because they had a toxic home environment, or they had issues that wasn't dealt with when they were children. And so we can't choose the people that we are around when we're younger, but we can choose those in our circle as we get older. But it's kind of hard to have those relationships around us that really mean something. We love those relationships, but sometimes those relationships is not to our best benefit, right? Some people are in, I would say, toxic relationships, such as abusive relationships. And it's hard to pull ourselves away from that, right? And if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, and I have been in two, in the beginning, it's not like that, right? You don't realize that it's toxic until you're really into it. And it's a mind control thing. And at some point, like, some people don't never get out, and it's an unfortunate situation. And some people, it takes time, but then it's that healing process, right? It's a mind manipulation. You're emotionally invested, and so sometimes you have years and you feel like you don't want to start over, but you owe it to yourself to be in the best quality relationships possible. And for me, I chose myself, and I'm still dealing with the aftermath of it. But I keep choosing myself. I keep fighting for myself. So I'm not going to say make sure, because I made bad choices and choosing people that weren't right for me. But fight for yourself every day, right? And try to make the best choices that you can. As adults, we can choose the people that we have around, our family and friends, right? They are hard relationships to break away from, because we have years with these people, time with these people. But at the end of the day, if all these people bring into our life is chaos, why are we going to continue into allowing that, right? It not only affects us mentally, but emotionally as well. Sometimes the negative energy, because I believe in energy transfer, that energy can leap off and become a part of you and your spiritual being. So what we must do is try to figure out a way to not, like, you don't have to, like, just say, F people, but distance yourself from those people that are constantly bringing in that negative energy. People that gossip a lot, that affects you as well, mentally. People that are negative in a way where they are constantly putting you down and saying you're not worth it, or you're not valuable, or that idea sucks. Oh, your mental health is not that bad. Oh, you'll get over it. And that's the one line I hate the most, is that, oh, you'll be fine, you'll get over it. Oh, it's not that bad. How can you tell someone that their issues is not as bad, right? No one has a right to question someone else's feelings and their mental state. We're not in their shoes, so we have no right to judge, and we can't pass judgment. But a lot of times people do this, and I don't know if people do it out of like they're trying to project their feelings onto someone else, so they feel like if they make fun of someone else, it takes away from their own pain, or they're just doing it because they're not a good person. A lot of times it's hard for us to pull away from these people because we built such a bond with these people. But at the end of the day, if these people is not bringing nothing but chaos in your life, you got to make a choice. And sometimes those choices are hard. And I know you got to walk away from, like, toxic situations. But at the end of the day, like, who are you going to fight for? Are you going to fight for these people that don't bring you any love or compassion? Because we all need support, right? And toxic people can't bring positive support. They're just going to bring you down. So you have to decide. And sometimes I know a situation is not easy to walk away from. So you got to make a plan. And you got to start with yourself. Sit down and write down like pros and cons of whatever relationship you're in. It doesn't have to be just an intimate relationship. I mean, there are intimate relationships, but variations of it. Friendships and having parent relationships and sibling relationship, cousins relationship. Ask yourself, is this relationship giving me any value? Is it nurturing? Is it supportive? Is it making me feel at peace? And if you can't answer more positive than negative, then maybe it's time to distance yourself. You could still be cordial, hi. You can still ask people how they're doing. But at the end of the day, if this relationship is bringing you more chaos than anything, then sometimes we need to let go of things. And that's the hard part, right? The hard part of letting go of situations that just bring you chaos and make you feel less than. I'm going to talk about another situation with people is dealing with work environment. Work environment, we can't choose the people that we work with. If we have our own business, we can. Or sometimes maybe our work environment is good, but sometimes our work environment can affect our mental health, right? We got people that we work with that are lazy. So now we're taking on more tasks because this person's not putting in their best foot effort. Sometimes we have toxic bosses and managers that will do things out of spite, right? I'm not going to say certain places, but there are well-known popular chain stores and restaurants that go through people like crazy because, or their retention rate is really high or low. Retention rate is low because they don't give value to people. When you don't value people, a lot of times people walk away. Right now, a lot of jobs are saying, oh, people don't want to work. It's not that people don't want to work. You don't value them as a person, right? You don't have any feelings. People, a lot of times, people is not going to stay in a place where they don't feel wanted. And a lot of jobs are toxic, so people they work there temporarily because we all need to work, right? We have to work because we have to provide. We got responsibilities. We got a roof over our head, which requires money. We have a car or a bus that we buy, which requires money. So sometimes we kind of got to suck up certain situations just so that we can provide for our life. But eventually, after a while, it takes a toll on our mental state, right? We become more depressed and anxious, and so we gotta figure out a way, I say an exit plan. Never quit a job unless it's really toxic, then you have no choice. But start making a plan, right? If you know that this job is just bringing you down, start looking at other job opportunities. Maybe open up on your own business. I know a lot of times it's easier said than done, and I know this, and that's why I say make a plan. Figure out, sit down with yourself and ask yourself what you want out of a company if you choose to work with a job. Find and make a goal. Right? What's your goal? I know people like right now that work in multiple jobs, and it can be overwhelming on your mental health. Why are you working this job? Do you have a set goal in place? And then figure out how to get yourself out of that. Like, I'm going to set this goal for a certain amount of time, and then I'm going to pull myself away once I reach my goal. If you are in a toxic environment, in a job where you feel like you have to stay, how can you minimize the stress? Lessen your interaction with people. A lot of times people want to be friends with people you work with, and that's all nice but sometimes eliminating conversations unless you really necessarily have to. Go there, get the job done, and just cut it off. At the end of the day, your mental health is more important than creating relationships with people that's just going to frustrate you more or make you more upset. And then sometimes ask yourself, are you the person that's bringing the toxicity? A lot of times we don't want to look at ourselves. Sometimes we could be that toxic person, but that's a topic for another day. So again, ask yourself questions more often than not. How can you change the people that you're around? A lot of times we're afraid to take a step, right? We're afraid to let this job go, or we're afraid to walk away from our family and friends because of the relationships that we have built. But if these relationships is not giving you the energy that you need, and I believe in energy transfer, then we got to sit down and ask ourselves, okay, what's the next move that I need to take? Or we're afraid of being alone sometimes, because loneliness can add to our mental health issue as well. But assess your situation and go at it in a slow and make it a process, right? That's why I urge people to write things down, pros and cons. Assess yourself as well in these situations, and then execute a plan. If you need to pull yourself out of a job, execute a plan of how to get about it. Don't ever put yourself in a position where you're going to be worse off, but always make a plan, ask yourself questions, and figure out what's the best solution for yourself. And also, I wanted to talk about this too. People with mental health sometimes avoid large crowds. And I'm gonna say this because I don't like being around a whole lot of people, right? When I go out in public, I don't want to be in the crowds because it affects me. Noises, loud noises, this can affect people with mental health as well. For me, I don't like really loud, extremely loud noises. Now, I do listen to music loudly in my car, which is a little crazy, but loud crashes and booms, or just people in general, for me, I feel the energy of people. So I don't like a whole lot of people around at once. You just never know what can happen in situations like that. So be mindful of people. If you see someone panicking, or you see someone not trying to brush you off, but trying to be by themselves. Some people just don't like a whole lot of people, and that's okay. We all were made differently, so be mindful of that. Okay, I also wanted to get into the next topic about environment. So what other things? Places. Again, I'll just talk briefly about that. Places can also affect where you live at, can affect your mental health. Places with a lot of crime area, or a lot of houses that doesn't look too great, can affect your mental health. Your environment plays a key role in how you feel. If you're in an area where you don't feel safe often, it affects your ability to thrive and to be better. But sometimes we don't have choices, right? We have to be where we're at we have to be where we're at right now in order to get to where we want to be. But it also plays a role in how our mental health can get negatively affected. And sometimes we can't make those choices, especially when we're children. Sometimes maybe the place that isn't the best for us is what we can afford. And so how can we navigate through that? How can we create an environment in a place that we can get ourselves out of? And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. The air. I don't know if you notice certain places that you go, the air smells funny. That can affect not only your mental health, but your physical health. If something affects your physical health, right? Let's say you live in an environment where the air quality is poor. It affects your body. Let's say you catch a disease because of it. Now you're worrying about the disease. So now it's not just affecting your body, it's affecting you mentally as well. Certain diseases can cause depression. Certain diseases can cause anxiety. So you need to pay attention to these things. I know I can't tell someone to quickly move out their environment. I live in a place where, unfortunately, things are falling apart. Does it affect me? Yes, is there something I could do about it right now? No. So I'm going to try to create the best space that I can. And that's what I wanted to get into. Next is the environment where you do live in. Is it cluttered, right? Clutter can affect your mental health, being surrounded by things. And I talk about decluttering sometimes. A lot of times we hold on to things, and these are like items that we need to let go. Every year I do spring cleaning, right? I clean out my closets, donate clothing that I no longer wear. It feels better, right? And also cleaning up your environment. And this is what I have to do this weekend, cleaning the space that you have. You can't sometimes quickly change the place that you live in, but you can create a space of cleanliness, right? It feels better. Ask yourself a question. When you clean, don't you feel better? I know when I clean, I feel so much better, because a lot of times when I clean afterwards, I light a candle to bring fresh energy. Open the window, allow the air to flow freely in there. That's why I use incense a lot, to create clear energy. So if you can't get out of the situation that you're in, try to create a space of serenity, a space of tranquility. You can do a lot in a limited space you have. You just got to kind of think outside of the box. Yes, I want to move out of the place that I'm in, but I can't do that now. So what can I do? I'm thinking about ways to rearranging furniture and stuff so that I can feel space more open. In the daytime, I open my curtains and blinds. Why? To bring in sunlight. Because what does sunlight do? Sunlight gives us energy. So, no, you can't control what goes on in your work environment. You can't control what goes on outside. You can't control traffic. Traffic is also a reason why people get affected negatively. I hate being in traffic, right? It affects me mentally. I get stressed out. I get frustrated. I start getting anxiety because I'm starting to think about accidents and stuff like that. I can't control that, but when I come home, this is the environment I can control. I can create peace. I know you see this, I forgot what it's called, tapestry behind me, right? This helps me at night, especially in the morning. I like to meditate. This gives me peace to just look at it, right? Give yourself some flowers, even if they're fake flowers. Put them in a vase. Create an environment that brings you peace. Certain colors energize you. So set your surroundings and bring you some peace in yourself. That's one thing you can control. Smells also ignite certain sensations in your body and send you vibrations. Listening to different music sends positive or negative vibrations. So watch what you're listening to. We can't control everything, and we can't control a lot of things. But those things that we can control, make a plan to learn how to make it better. The one place you can control is the place that you reside in. And maybe sometimes the place that we reside in is toxic. Figure out a way to get out of it. I know, like, some situations is not an easy solution. I know it's not a fast pace, but start making plans. You can give yourself 5 to 10 minutes each and every day to bring yourself some peace. And you have to do that for yourself. Things can't get better if you don't make a plan to change and you don't execute that plan. And everything is not going to happen overnight. I think people think everything is an easy fix. It's not. Change requires consistent effort over time. And just because I think sometimes, and this is why I talk about spirituality a lot, because it starts internal, right? Let's say you do get a nicer house, nicer car, and better job. But if you don't fix what's going on in here, nothing else is going to help. I'm going to use losing weight, for example, because I used to weigh a lot, and I used to feel so bad about myself. I suffered from bad self-esteem issues until recently, right? I thought losing weight would make me feel better, but it didn't, because it was still something going on in here. So until we fix what's going on in here and up here and change the way that we see things, nothing that we're around can get better. I believe in not karma, but putting out positive energy in the universe and God, listening, prayers and meditation. How we think affects how we feel, and how we feel affects our actions. And so we got to create a space where even if something doesn't go the way that we want it to, we can still find peace in it. And I know it's hard. And this, I'm still learning, right? This is not an overnight, let's get quick fix. And I think a lot of time people want the answer right away. That life doesn't happen like that. Like, if I want a better job, it's not going to happen overnight. I have to make a plan. So start making a plan to create peace in your life. Our environment definitely plays a role in how we think, how we feel, and our behaviors. But we don't have to let it take us outside of ourselves. We don't have to let it affect us negatively. We just need to have a plan in place to figure out how to navigate in those situations where we have no control over. I know a toxic work environment is extremely hard, because I've worked in toxic work environments, and some of those environments I took myself out of. I did quit one job because it was toxic. It was affecting me so mentally. I felt exhausted. I felt overwhelmed. And what I had to do quickly is find an alternative. And I did. It took a few months, but I was never ever in a situation where I didn't have a roof over my head or food to eat. And I thank God, I thank the universe every day that I've always been in a position where I never have to worry. And I know it's not as easy for some people in that situation where they can just walk away from. So make a plan if you need to clear out your environment, right? Be in environments that's thriving. Slowly do it, right? Always make a plan, right? We all have time, and I know people are busy, but you still have at least 5 to 10 minutes to give yourself and sit down and ask, how can you make your environment better? What are you doing now, right? Job-wise, place-wise, right? Where you reside, where you live. Let's say you want a car and don't have one yet. Put that down there, right? And how can you make these situations better? Where you reside in the current place, like the space that you're in, how can you make your space better? Because that's the only thing that you can't control. We cannot control what goes on out there, but we can control what goes on in here and in here. And this takes time. As someone that suffers from mental health issues daily, every day does not look the same. And I literally have to fight myself in here every day. And when I tell you it's a battle, it hurts. Some days I feel great, and some days I don't feel too good. So what do I do on them days that I don't feel too good? I just do as much as I can in that day, but I still fight. And then I sit, and I've been doing this lately, and it can take you a while to get to this point, because I know this is not it. I know things are going to be better and different. I meditate. I started meditating in the morning and at night, and I started asking myself questions. How can I make my situation better? What can I do in this moment? If I can't do anything, right? If I'm doing everything that I can to change the situation, if I'm doing everything that I can, then I can't worry about something that I can't control over. And it's hard, and it's a process. And this is why I offer the holistic approach to mental health, because this is what has challenged me. And currently I'm in the process of constantly asking myself questions. All right, how can I make this situation better? What can I do to bring myself out of the situation? Like, I need a bigger place, right? What can I do right now to change it? I can't do anything right now. Not today. Not in a couple months. maybe next year. So I can't change it, right? But I can declutter. I can enhance. I can do something about the environment I'm living in now. So that's adding some colors or getting some flowers to brighten, lighting my incense every day, opening the window, going outside, taking a walk. We can't control a lot of things in life. But one thing we can control is ourselves and our reactions and the way we think and the way we feel. And it takes time. And I know that sometimes our relationships that we're in, our family and friend relationships, it's hard to let them go. The job environment affects us. We can't control the quality of air, right? But we just need to figure out, how can we ourselves make a situation better? Because those things around us is not going to change. Change starts right here. And if we don't like what's going on the outside, we need to either, one, remove ourselves or deal with, or figure out a way to deal with it temporary. And it's hard. And I know, because I know from experience. I can't tell you how many things I've dealt with in life, and I don't know what you're dealing with, right? I don't know how your life has been, and I don't know how you feel on the inside. I don't know what you're going through mentally. I have no idea. I only can deal with myself each and every day, and you got to deal with yourself in each and every day. But I can tell you one thing. If you sit with yourself long enough in meditation, and this is why I preach and talk about meditation all the time, because meditation changes the way that you see yourself and the world around you. Ask yourself questions and ask yourself why you react the way you do. Because sometimes we can be entrapped in those environments, right? Sometimes, like, we need a lesson. There's a lesson to be learned. Let me say that. There's a lesson to be learned. I believe sometimes we put in situations because we need to learn something from it, right? And so ask yourself, what am I putting in the situation? What am I gaining from this situation? And is the lesson learned? There are certain jobs I know I had to learn a lesson. And when my time was up from learning that lesson, I removed myself from that. And so it's hard to see life that way sometimes. But try to create a place of peace wherever you're at. And I know that's hard. Let's say you're in a toxic, I'm going to quickly wrap this up. But let's say you're in a toxic work environment, right? You don't have to surround yourself with those people, right? Take time. If you're on break, go in your car, listen to some relaxation music. Focus on the goal, right? Where do you want to be? How can you get there? Make that plan. These relationships that you have, that you need to pull yourself away from these people because they're toxic. How can I change that? Again, everything doesn't happen as soon as you want it to. But if you sit down, right, and make this plan for yourself, do it today, right, if you have time. But do it. I know you have 5 minutes. I know you got 5